Coming up, a new breed of millionaires.
Slide them on the grill.
We talk with Willie and Corey Robertson about building a duck dynasty.
Boys, one of these days we'll sell $1 million worth of these. We're all in it together.
On today's 700 Club Interactive. On 700 Club Interactive, we use technology to pray for each other and explore topics that matter to you. Watch what God is doing in the world today. Well, good morning and welcome to 700 Club Interactive. Today we're going to head deep into the backwoods of the bayou and meet with a family who can fry up a bologna sandwich with the best of them. The Robertsons. They're my cousins. They were born in cornbread in Louisiana, and thanks to a revolutionary invention, some business acumen, and a whole lot of ducks, this family struck it rich. But all the while, they proved that the more things change, the more they stay the same. Take a look.
The backwoods of Louisiana is now home to a new breed of millionaire, the Robertsons. 40 years ago, Phil Robertson invented a revolutionary kind of duck call that changed the duck hunting industry and their way of life forever. As CEO, Willie Robertson turned his dad's one-man operation into a booming family enterprise. His brother Jace designs the duck calls and manages the assembly team, and Uncle Si heads up operations.
Slide them on the grill.
They may do some dumb stuff, but at the end of the day, they stick together because they're family and they love each other. They are the Duck Dynasty.
Well, joining us now via Skype is Willie Robertson, the head of Duck Commander, and his lovely wife, Corey. Cousin, thanks for being with us.
Where's your beard?
I'm not trying to join ZZ Top.
Gotcha.
Willie, how did you end up with Corey? Are you like really good looking under that beard?
I don't know. You may want to ask her.
Yes.
I feel like I am.
He is. I fell in love with a cute little boy with dimples in 3rd grade at church camp. He asked me on the moonlight hike, and the rest is history.
She's been after me ever since.
Well, in your book, the Duck Commander family, you actually reveal it because there are plenty of pictures of you two way back when, and you know, Willie's looking like, you know, he just walked off the beach or something. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, I'm not stupid. I had to, you know, get the right woman that I wanted, and I wasn't sure this look was going to be that look, so this was for later in life.
Well, Corey, you do come from quite a family background. I mean, your family pretty much invented the big box warehouse store, and then you had a publishing company and a whole lot of that. Did any of that go into making Duck Dynasty?
Well, I think we work together. I think Willie and I are a good team. And, yeah, I grew up sitting around our dinner table, at my family's dinner table, listening to stories about business. And I was always interested in it. And whenever we kind of decided to come back on the board with Duck Commander, we put our heads together, and here we are.
Well, tell us how you built Duck Dynasty. How did you make Duck Commander, and then there was Buck Commander, and you're still coming up with new businesses. How did you do it?
Well, Phil, you know, gets all the credit for inventing this duck call. And as we were kids, we were really poor. And Phil was a commercial fisherman, and he made this duck call. And he said, boys, one of these days we'll sell $1 million worth of these. And at the time, it seemed like a great idea because we were poor and eating catfish every night, whatever we caught in the nets and whatever we hunted. And that's what provided for the family. So he just kept after it. And we came along about 30 years after he had started, and it was starting to decline and going down. And she and I just had, you know, the right energy. And, you know, in business, timing is everything. And I always said that the Lord had to have his hand in it because we did everything wrong, probably in business, but he blessed us. And it's a lot of hard work, and it's good to see it pay off in this way.
You said in the book that, you know, the road was really hard, and it was long, and there were times where you thought you were going to lose it all. But God was always faithful. How did he show up for you?
Well, I mean, there were specific instances where checks would come in. I put that in the book about, you know, back when Dad ran it, and literally down to we're not going to make it. And we had a check come in from Japan, which I don't know who that person was in Japan, but we haven't sold one since to Japan since the 80s. That one check came in. Fish were always came in at the right time when we needed the cash. Then when I took over, you know, I held my paychecks for months, you know, just hoping that we could get this thing back on track. It was a bad time financially, and we were just hoping that, you know, what we were thinking we were building, you know, was true. And also when your family all works for you, you can't exactly lay them off and fire them. So we were all in this thing together, and we just had to see it through and make it work. And there was certainly a lot of faith involved.
Yeah, it's said that money changes people. But it doesn't seem to be changing your family. You still remain true to your roots. Why?
Well, you know, I always think about, you know, the love of money may change some people. Money shouldn't change who you are, you know, whether you got more or whether you have less. I've been in both camps of that, and I thank the Lord for that. Growing up with no money, I really appreciate, you know, the things that it provides for us now. But, you know, I'd say the fame certainly can, you know, get after you, and people, you know, everybody recognizing you, and they treat you a little differently. So the key to this show and what we're about is that we're all doing it together. It's not like one person came out of this family and became famous and everyone kind of revolves around them. We're all in it together. So I can't one up anybody in my stories. And if anybody starts getting the big head, somebody will let you know, hey, you need to remember who you are and where you came from.
How did you end up on TV?
We actually just got an email out of the blue. It wasn't really wasn't a great story. I just got an email from a guy who owned a production company in Los Angeles. He was from Louisiana, so he knew who we were. And, you know, we had somewhat of fame in our industry. I think everybody in the hunting community knew the guys with the beards and had Duck Commander. We'd been around forever, had been on TV some as well in a smaller genre. And then he sent an email and said, I think you guys got what it takes. And we made a sizzle reel. A&E saw it, took a chance on it, picked up 2 pilots, liked what they saw. And as you know, we just had the #1 show on Wednesday night. So I guess they were right.
Yeah, I guess they were. Well, watching the show, you can see your family. On occasion, you guys get on each other's nerves, but at the end of the day, you still make sure that you're all around the table for family dinner. How did that tradition start, and why do you keep it going today?
Well, growing up, Kay fed these boys like you've never seen. Whenever I came into the family, my mom was not a big cook. We ate out a lot. We ate a lot of pizza. But when I came into the family, I saw how important the family dinner was to their family. And it was important to my family as well. It was just in a little bit different way. But Kay had this teeny tiny kitchen, and she cooked for those 4 boys and all the employees at Duck Commander as well every single day. And so it's just been a real important thing for our family to keep that up and keep that tradition going. And, you know, it's all about family, really, in the end. We can't let the little petty things get in the way of that. And we do a good job, I think, of putting that first. Just like in our marriage, you know, we try not to go to bed when we're angry with each other. And that dinner table for the family was that way. You know, no matter what, whether you had a bad day at work or you were going to have to end up around that dinner table, and you better get it worked out because you're not going to take it to work tomorrow. So, Corey, have you learned how to make fried bologna sandwiches? Willie is the cook in our house, I will say. He's good at it. I just let him be. I'm the assistant in the kitchen. Of all those recipes, fried bologna sandwiches is one you probably could make. That's for sure. Well, you got the right secret. You got to make those 3 slits in the bologna to keep it from curling up. Otherwise, it won't fry right. What's the secret to your duck gumbo? I see that you take the roux, not just to brick red, but you take it all the way to chocolate. Is that the secret to the flavor? That's the way we like it, you know, a little bit richer taste for us. And, you know, it's so much like our company because the duck gumbo takes, for us, a few days to make and really get good, and it's better the more it sits. And, you know, this company and this family took 40 years to get to this point, and it was so much like a gumbo because if you really want it right and done right, you're going to have to be patient and wait, and it will pay off in the end. But that's how we like ours. Very rich, kind of like our family. It's a powerful family, and just like a gumbo. Well, I'm going to try to make it. I'm actually going to go out and my brother shoots ducks. I just buy them. I'm going to try to make some. You'll be the other Robertson family. I'll team up and make a gumbo. All right. Well, Willie, Corey, thanks for being with us, and thanks for your strong stand for the faith. For more with the Robertsons, all you got to do is read the book. It's called The Duck Commander Family, How Faith, Family, and Ducks
Built a Dynasty. It's available wherever books are sold. And don't forget, the show Duck Dynasty airs every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern on A&E TV. Well, up next, we're going to stay in Louisiana and show you how one family got a new home after it was leveled by Hurricane Isaac.
I started feeling pain between my spine and my shoulder blade. All I had was pain and no relief. There was a sizable mass consistent with a malignant cancer in the upper right lung. And that's complex, that's tough stuff. I was walking, talking, but I didn't know how sick I was.
I remembered seeing the ad for Cancer Treatment Centers of America, and I thought, this is the place he needs to be.
To find out more about Cancer Treatment Centers of America and our unique treatment options for complex and advanced stage cancer, go to cancercenter.com. You'll be able to see our treatment results for many types of cancers and how they compare to national averages. You can also check for participating insurance plans.
The game plan was chemotherapy and radiation throughout the whole period. It was an aggressive plan of attack. I liked that.
We gave him chemotherapy and radiation. He was an amazing patient. He tolerated treatment exceptionally well.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is different. You feel it the moment you call or walk into one of our hospitals. It's state-of-the-art medicine, unique treatment options, and a level of compassion that cannot be copied. Why? Our people. People who give you not only their expertise, but their humanity, and the most thoughtful, well-organized, patient-centered care you'll find anywhere.
My strength came back. I began to become myself again.
George does have his life back now. He has a life that I never thought he was gonna have.
With the teamwork, the treatment plans, the facilities, the combination of all the aspects of the treatment, I'm so happy that I went to CTCA.
Every minute counts when you're fighting complex or advanced stage cancer, so please call or visit cancercenter.com today. Appointments are available now. Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Care that never quits.
An energy prescription.
The technique involves a therapist locating the source of the energy problem by passing her hands a few inches over the top of the body of the patient.
Discover how this new age practice is shaping your healthcare on the next 700 Club Interactive. When Danny and Gina lost their home in Hurricane Isaac, they didn't fall apart. They volunteered with Operation Blessing to help other people in the same situation they were in. So we decided to return the favor. Watch this.
I've never been in a hurricane where I was actually in the conditions that I was in this time.
During the worst of Hurricane Isaac's flooding, Gina Hunter and her family fled to safety. Her husband Danny stayed behind, using his boat to rescue more than a dozen neighbors.
I was getting phone calls, people trapped in their houses. You know, we had to get to them, you know.
Danny's the kind of person that is going to help other people, you know, as long as he's able to.
As the waters receded, Danny and Gina's home sat in the middle of the road.
My house floated about 200 yards up the highway.
It's a complete loss, really. There's really very few things salvageable out of it.
Their home had to be demolished. But in the midst of their tragedy, Gina's daughter suggested they follow her stepfather's example.
She said, Mom, we can sit here and lick our wounds and make ourselves feel worse, or we can go out and find people like ourselves and help whoever we can.
So Gina and her daughter followed Danny's example and volunteered with Operation Blessing. They worked wherever they were needed and gave a word of encouragement to everyone they met. They served hot meals to first responders and residents from the community.
And we was blessed to be able to help.
Danny and Gina have insurance and will eventually rebuild their home. But in the meantime, they had no place to stay. So Operation Blessing transformed their garage into a small apartment where they can live while they rebuild.
It just means so much. It'll take a miracle for God to come step into my life and do this.
We actually have a home that we can come live in and sleep in.
Oh my goodness.
It's priceless. You can't put a dollar value, you know, on with everything Operation Blessing has done for everyone, including myself, my family.
If you're a member of the 700 Club, you're part of that. You're part of blessing people. When disasters strike, we want to strike back, and we want to strike back with love and compassion and very tangible help. If you want to be a part of it, all you have to do is join the 700 Club. And how much is that? Well, it's just $20 a month, 65 cents a day, and you join with tens of thousands of people across America, around the world, who say, yeah, we want to make a difference. We want to help people. We want to preach the gospel around the world. We're doing that now in over 40 languages. We've got 15 production centers located strategically around the world where we train Christians how to preach the gospel on television in their own language, right, and in their own culture, to show people what Jesus is doing there. We want to tell that story and then lead them in a prayer of salvation so that they can know the joy of knowing their Creator. If you want to be a part of it, call us, 888-777-1999. Just say, yes, I want to join. I want to help people. I want to be a part of it. When you call, when you join, I've got something I want you to have. It's called God's Plan for America. It's the latest DVD teaching from my father. We're hearing a lot of negativity. We're hearing a lot about how we're going to go off a cliff and how, you know, God's plan is to judge us and doom us. And you need to hear this. It'll give you hope. To understand the covenant that the early settlers made with God for blessing this land is still valid. All we have to do is turn and adhere to it, and God will hear from heaven. So if you want that, if you want to be encouraged, join the 700 Club. We'll send it right out to you. Call us, 888-777-1999. Well, still ahead, we'll hear from another reality star, the man who took home the top prize on the show, Top Shot.
Every person has made a choice that is not the best one, and all of us have failed. And the more confident that I got in that, the more confident I got in my story that God could take that thing and turn it around. And there's no reason that God can't love me right where I am and that He can't love me in spite of what I've done. I was so unlovable, and God found a way to reach me, and God found a way to touch me, and God found a way to restore my life.
If you're the mother of a child with behavior problems, I'd like to talk to you. My name is Janet Lehman, and I'm a behavioral therapist and a mom. I know what it's like when the child that you love becomes a defiant, out-of-control child who disrespects you.
That's why my husband James and I created the Total Transformation, the program that tens of thousands of moms are now using to turn around their child's behavior.
If you've heard about the Total Transformation and wondered if it will work for you, now you can try it for free. I'm willing to give away 1,000 programs today for free.
All you need to do is get the program and let us know how it works for you. We'll let you keep it for free.
I know the Total Transformation works because I used these techniques with my own son and with troubled kids for over 30 years. Let me prove to you that it works by giving you the program free.
Call the number on your screen now to get the Total Transformation free.
Hello? Is this thing on? Hey, kids, do you love games? And do you love creating characters? And do you love discovering things? Well, do ya? Yeah! Then you're gonna love the new Superbook.tv. Ouch. Superbook.tv. A fun new way to learn about the Bible.
The TV show Top Shot features Navy SEALs, Army vets, and FBI agents. But the winner of Season 3 of this shooting competition isn't a marksman by trade. He's a 28-year-old camp counselor named Dustin Ellerman. Chuck Holton has his story.
Top Shot is a History Channel answer to the reality show. In this weapons competition, 16 sharpshooters must master the most primitive of weapons.
Glass window pane set 15 feet downrange
to the most sophisticated. At the same time, overcoming grueling obstacles. Dustin Ellerman went on to win the top spot on History Channel's Top Shot show. But unlike the other contestants, he's self-taught. So Today, he's going to show me a thing or two. All right, buddy, show me what you got.
Sounds good.
What are we shooting at?
Pennies at 50 yards.
Pennies.
Cheaper than dimes.
Okay, yeah. Okay. All right, let's do it.
There we go.
All of them gone. All right, we'll go take a look.
That?
I think we're breaking some sort of federal law.
I think so.
Many viewers considered Dustin the least likely to win. At only 28 years old, he and his wife Brittany run a Christian summer camp in La Valle, Texas.
Camp His Way was founded by my parents. It's a summer Christian kids camp. We have tons of just cool, fun activities and show them a good time and teach them about Jesus.
The idea of competing on Top Shot sounded like a fun adventure at first.
Once I started getting into the casting process and things started getting more serious, I was like, wow, 3 million viewers and such. I'm like, God could use this as a platform, and I started to see how maybe he wanted me in that. It's reality TV, so they just want you to be yourself, so I'll be myself. That's easy enough. I'm not an actor, that's for sure.
Dustin spent a lot of time with the 13 other male contestants on the show.
Most of the guys in the house are great and honorable sportsmen and gun guys, and so I kind of went in thinking I might be insulted, persecuted somewhat, but really I had a lot of respect from the guys, and it was neat just asking me about my faith and letting me share in little ways.
How did you become this Top Shot?
It's just something that's been in me since a little guy. A BB gun in my hand, all my summers were spent at my grandparents' farm and just shooting their trees up with BBs.
With the exception of a 2-day pistol course, Dustin taught himself practically everything he knows about weapons. Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
Most of the Top Shot contestants had extensive weapons training with the military or law enforcement. How'd you meet these guys?
It is pretty crazy. Looking back, is God's favor. Even if God didn't supernaturally help me curve a bullet into the target, he gave me my natural ability. There's a lot of pressure on Top Shot shooting, and you don't see the camera crews and the 200 people that make Top Shot happen behind the camera, and then knowing, hey, when you can't throw a rock straight, 3 million people are going to laugh at you on TV. And so there's a lot of pressure that goes into that, and a lot of the guys crumble under that pressure. But me, I was just there to have fun, and I knew that I was just there and trusting God to either help me do good, or if he's done with me, I'm content.
Hitting the targets wasn't the toughest part for Dustin.
Hardest part was probably spending that much time away from my family without any contact.
And that was a very long 6 weeks, just having to deal with the boys and asking questions where Daddy is, and still not able to talk about it too much, especially for the first couple weeks because it hadn't been announced, and it was just kind of, Daddy's out of town, he's working.
What was your favorite shooting challenge?
The Volcourt 1022s. I love 1022s, and this is like a perfected one. And I was supposed to cut Q-tips in half with it, and so I did so. and I actually got my free ticket into the finale by hitting a golf ball at 100 yards with it, and nobody else could come close.
Dustin finished the final challenge in just 2 minutes, taking the Top Shot crown. Were you surprised at that?
Oh, I was very surprised how I performed and measured up against all these professional and shooters.
I couldn't help but ask Dustin to give me a few shooting tips at his range.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you do. There it is.
Oh, I got it.
Dude, that's a small target, too.
All right. Dustin took home the $100,000 grand prize from Top Shot. Some of that money is coming back here to Camp His Way, to teach kids about God's love.
God told him not to do that.
As you might imagine, Dustin's getting lots of invitations to share his story and his skills. Have the Navy SEALs come calling yet, or?
I went and shot with the FBI the other day, and so that was fun. I got perfect calls on all their courses. God gives us gifts and talents and abilities all for a reason, and it's just amazing that God can use something even as silly as shooting to bring glory to his name. So it's pretty neat.
God is amazing, and he gives us all different talents, gifts. I love to counsel people, find out what's in your heart. What do you love to do? And realize that's a gift from God. And when you start doing it and you do it with integrity and you do it as before the Lord, well, then he'll take you places that you could have never imagined, and he'll do things with you so that your light will shine and you'll be a witness for him. Well, the show Top Shot will return to the History Channel early next year. All you have to do is check your local listings for the dates and time. Well, it's time to live up to our name, 700 Club Interactive, and so we've got some inbox messages from you. Let's go over to Lakeisha.
We have Doreen, and she says, a lady in our church told me that the Lord had told her that he was going to shorten my husband's days. Should I put any stock in this kind of word? What should I do?
Well, I really don't like this sort of, I call them drive-by prophecies, where there's really no accountability. You know, the Bible says, let the prophets prophesy and the others judge. And so prophecy should never be in this sort of private, without the ability for other church leaders, the elders, the pastor, to hear it and be able to provide counsel, and is that a word you accept or you reject? Now, you haven't given me any, history between you and this other person, and is there a record of accuracy, those kinds of things. But I just think it's improper for this word to come to you. It needs to come to your husband, not to you, because he's the one. If God's telling this person, I'm going to shorten days, he's the one that needs to hear it, not you. Because it's given to you, it's just going to give you fear, because you don't have any way to turn the word around. And that's something that we need to understand with prophecy. Prophecy is always conditional. God has a lot of ifs. And if you hit the conditions right, you can turn anything. We need to keep in mind that Moses was able to intercede with God and stop him from destroying the children of Israel. Abraham interceded for Sodom and Gomorrah. You intercede and you can turn it around. Now, here's something that will encourage you, and there's a parallel here. You find it in the book of Isaiah in chapter 38, where King Hezekiah was dying, and Isaiah was given a word from God that prepare yourself because you're going to die. Well, Hezekiah heard it and turned in prayer and said, God, I've walked in your ways. I've lived with a perfect heart before you. And God changed his mind. And Isaiah came back and said, God's decided to add 15 years to your life, which should be a word of encouragement to you. Now, what's that based on? What is Hezekiah's based his prayer on was another promise, and this is from God to Solomon. And you find it in 1 Kings chapter 3, where God promises Solomon that if he walks according to his commandments and his statutes, walks before him, that he will lengthen his days. So if you're afraid your husband's days are going to be shortened, take that promise to him and tell him, in Christ Jesus, all the promises of God are yes and amen. So let's take this promise that he's going to lengthen our days, and let's walk in accordance with his commandments. Let's do what he asks us to do, and that promise will come true for us. And I would just encourage you with that. And if you do it that way, it'll get rid of all that fear that I think was planted in you, and you'll be able to discern. Well, let's go back for another question. Lakeisha?
We have Gino, and he writes, my wife and I have different political viewpoints. The current election is causing friction between us. How do I support my wife and still follow my own political choices without sleeping on the couch?
When my parents were first married, my mother was a Republican from Ohio, what's called a Taft Republican. My father was a Southern Democrat his father was a United States Senator. And so they would get into some political arguments. I think my mother ultimately influenced my father to become a Republican. But they used to joke with each other, saying, I'm canceling your vote. So keep the humor in it, and don't let political differences drive you to the couch. And maybe, just, try to find some balance. Because obviously you love one another, and love conquers everything. That's all the time we have. We leave with this word from Psalm 144. Happy are the people who are in such a state. Happy are the people whose God is the Lord. God bless you. Let that be your word today.